stress and health. We're going to start with where the stress comes from. You probably already know this, but we're going to talk about it. We actually look at stress in psychology in two different ways. We actually look at it in what we call distress and your stress. Your stress is actually healthy. Your stress is a good thing. Okay? Your stress is healthy. It is a good thing. Why is stress helpful? Why is it a good thing? Helps you push. Perfect example. Your stress actually helps you push. Let's stop for a moment. All right. So we talk about the difference. You got your stress and distress. Distress is the uncomfortable stress. It's the bad stress. When a person feels distress, it's uncomfortable and it's bad. Your stress is helpful, healthy. When you have stress that lasts a long time, it can affect your mood, your ability to experience pleasure. It can actually harm the body. In regards to moods, tell me some examples of why stress causes problems with your mood. What does it do with your mood? Bad mood. It makes you irritated, high strung, anxiety. How about inability to experience pleasure? Too worried. You can't even enjoy some of the things you normally do because you're too worried about it. And then harm the body. Give me some examples. High blood pressure, ulcers, headaches, muscle tension, heart disease. What'd you say? Heart disease. All of these are literally aspects of stress. Okay, so you've got the idea that it can push me, but when it turns into distress, we now have issues that affect our overall lifestyle. Does that make sense? Now, your stress will probably be, let's just say an exam is coming, final exam is coming. Your stress is going to make you get organized, prepare for the final, start to study. Distress when it starts to involve you not being able to sleep, not being able to eat, not being able to go and watch a TV show because you're constantly thinking about. So you've got the healthy part that if the worry kicks in to the point to where you can't function, we now switched it over to distress. Usually, and that's a good question, usually what will stop something from you being your stress or distress is preparation. If you're prepared, it takes away some of the stress level. Prepare. Yep. Literally, if you get organized and prepared, you're good. The minute that distress kicks in is probably because of the lack of confidence, the not prepared for what's coming, the unknown, and the fear. As soon as those kick in, it moves into distress because it feels like it's out of your control. Okay? Health psychology. If you have not realized this entire book, remember back in chapter 1, we talked about the different areas of psychology. We talked about cognitive psychology, behavioral psychology. Remember all of that in chapter 1? Does it sound familiar? Well, this chapter actually talks about the health psychology. So every chapter has actually unleashed information regarding each field. That should help you when you have the exam, final exam. I might literally say a health psychologist, blah, blah, blah. You know it's coming from anything that had to do with this chapter. Does that make sense? Developmental psychologists. Remember we talked about that in chapter 1. That came from everything from chapter 3. Make sense? All right, so everything here is your health psychology. Health psychology is literally the study of relationships between psychological factors and the prevention and treatment of physical health problems. Health psychology literally looks at how can we prevent health problems? How can we prevent it and how can we treat it from a psychological viewpoint? How can we prevent and treat health problems from a psychological viewpoint? This goes back to the whole idea of that mind and body connection. If we can get the mind right, we can make sure the body's right. Now, in regards to stress, we look at these things as what causes us stress on a regular basis. First thing, daily hassles. We all understand this. We all live through this. Daily hassles are just simple things, household things, health things, traffic, financial, environmental. Daily hassles are the daily things you deal with on a regular basis. We all know that these simple things can cause stress. Your household, number one stressor. Why is household number one stressor over everything else? Okay, combination. Most of your time there. Exactly. The things you care about the most are there. The things you care about the most are in your household, which causes you the most stress. If I care about it more, it causes me more stress. The less I care about it, the less it stresses me out. Yes. Let's just say, for instance, perfect example, you're in a relationship and the relationship is causing you stress. You probably won't care that much about work because that component of that spouse, that partner, that relationship is your main focus right now. It's literally, I can't think about anything else. You hear a mother whose child is sick. The whole day, all they keep thinking is, I'm worried about my baby. I'm worried about my baby. I'm worried about my baby. They can't think about anything else because their first priority is the thing that they care about the most. Okay? Life changes. Another thing that makes stressors occur. Life changes are literally things that occur out of the regular. We hear everything, and all the time we hear people say, change is what? Change is good, and change is scary, bad, is good, but guess what? You always will have to deal with change. Change is inevitable. You must deal with change at all times, positive or negative. Right? But the reason why it causes the most stress is literally because it's unusual for you. It's out of your pattern. The minute you get a pattern with the change, you're good again. Mhm. Just going with the flow. Control. And the difference is everybody usually gets that little bit of anxiety when change occurs. It's just some people monopolize on it. It's like change is coming. I'm good. It's my motivation. I can do something different. Some people are like, oh my God, here goes my world. It's changing again. What do I do? Um, you'll see a lot of times in children. Children feel more stressed than adults. Why do you think this happens? Okay, new to the experience. That's a good one. Literally, we know what, if you've ever paid a bill once, all it takes is one time. When the next one comes, you're pretty good at it. Okay? Children is new to. Okay? Even if you don't have money, you're like, okay, we know every month it's coming. Right? That first day you got, let's just go back. Everybody here has had a job before, right? Okay. First day you get your check. You've worked 35 hours. You made $10 an hour. This is your first job. You need your check to be how much? $350. You know it, you done spent it, you done counted it out, and then you got it. And it said what? And you like, oh my gosh, what just happened? It was a whole experience for you. You were stressed out. Oh my goodness, what happened to my money? I remember calling my mother asking, who is FICA? Because I need to talk to them. And I said, can I call them? And she said, no, honey, it don't work like that. And I'm like, who are they? And she's like, it's called the government. And I was like, they took my money. She was like, and they will be taking it for the rest of your life. I'm like, but mama. And she was like, ain't no but to this one. It's not. And she literally said, this is out of your control. And I thought, oh my God, I'm about to work for these people to take my money for the rest of my life. And let me tell you, they still taking my money for the rest of my life. But that change keeps you to think, so the idea of not knowing. Another thing, children don't have that much control. Go through a divorce and watch how a child will go through so many changes because it's out of their control. They just at this point they're just put into a different environment, and I have to adapt. So you'll see them acting out in school. You'll see them no longer controlling their bowels in regards to urinating in the bed. You'll see a 12-year-old all of a sudden start to urinate on themselves again. It's because this is the only thing I can control, and when I lose control, I gotta show my control in something. Yeah. They've learned. They just act out because it's literally like, what do I do with this anger? What do I do with this? I'm mad at my mom and my dad. What do I do with it? They've told me I couldn't express it because I got a respect for them. I can't act bad, so what do I do with it? So you've got this higher level. It usually does because a child does not know that they're angry. Usually a child wants to protect both parents, and you'll see it a lot of times in divorce. Which parent do you want to go with? Both. And then when they're placed in a, I'm angry that you made the choice for me, but yet I'll never express that I didn't want to live with you. I wanted to live with them because I love you both. And at that point, they're confused. Um, it's a horrible place for them to be, but it's life. And unfortunately, in the United States, it's more than we want to deal with. I understand. We talked about the whole idea. Now, stress in America. We've done a survey quite a few times in regards to stress levels. And what we found out in America, we looked at, and it was done back in 2009. I don't think it has changed that much since 2009. And we're talking 5 years difference. But the number one significant stress level is money. And again, I don't really think it changed much. 2014, we still stressing over money. Okay. Second one is work. And I think the reason why it's so high, work produces money. Lack of work, lack of money. And not to mention jobs. The idea of, is a job going to be there? Not going to be there. I think a lot of college students worry about work right around that last year simply because, have I done all this for nothing? Okay. And then the economy. Look at what all three are. The top three are all about what? Money. Okay. Then you have family responsibility, relationship, and they kind of go. The last one is personal safety. Probably because that's the one people think they can control the most. Right? It's the one that's the most people think they have control when technically they don't. Physical symptoms of stress. Number one, irritability or anger. We've all felt this. The more stress you feel, the more angry you are. You start to lash out. Fatigue. Huge in stress levels. The higher the stress, the more tired you will be. It's just the body's way of trying to deal with the stressor. And we're going to talk about stress is the first place stress attacks is the immune system. And I don't know if it's the body. The mind and body are so fascinating in the way that they work with each other. I'm not sure it's not the body's way of saying, you can't deal with this because we told you a long time ago to stop. So I'm going to take over. And the best way to do it is to knock you out for a few days. If I knock you out for a few days, you're going to be so busy worried about yourself, you're not going to deal about Georgia Power. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's the way they relieve stress. It literally, this hurt where it hurts a lot more than the pain inside. Mm-hmm. And you'll see a lot of people who have high levels of stress. Usually they have the most colds, the most heart problems, the most blood pressure problems, and we've actually now found that they have a higher cancer rate inside of people who have high levels of stress. I'm sure, or drinkers. Smokers, we're not gonna say what they're probably smoking, but they're probably smoking the other stuff too. Psychological symptoms of stress. We've actually identified coping mechanisms that are very useful. First one we talk about is listening to music. Music is huge. Music relieves stress. Music psychologically takes you to another place. Okay? You can listen to a song and have a whole episode in your head. You done danced something, did a whole thing, and then the music is off and you back to reality. You've all done it in the car. Your song came on, you wasn't feeling well, song came on, you had a good time for at least 3.47 minutes. Okay? And you kept thinking, I hope they play another one, because it does something to you. Exercise and walking, literally exercise because it gives off the hormone. Okay? It actually gives you a hormone release. And then read. Read because it creates an imagination. It takes you to another place. Meditation and yoga is moving up the chart. As you see, it's 7% now. The reason why it's so low here is literally because most people cannot do it. Okay? It's very difficult to stay in the moment, and the best way to stay and release stress is to be in the moment. To meditate and think about the problem is useless. All right? All right. Impacts of sleep, we literally say 36% of the people reported skipped a meal. 43% ate more. So either we know now that stress creates difference in eating. They're in stress. So after taking the survey, they decided, do I eat more or skip? Most people know the more stressed you are, the more people eat. Okay? It just works like that. Just food gives comfort. Literally because really what is the hypothalamus, we talk about the hypothalamus regulates motivation. So if you're sitting there doing nothing, the hypothalamus released a signal. You interpret it as hunger, but the hypothalamus is just releasing a signal of motivation. Do something. And whenever the hypothalamus releases a signal, we usually always interpret it as eating. Even when it's supposed to be thirst, even when it's supposed to be care of offspring, we always go, food, I'm hungry. Hey, no, you're not. It literally released a signal of motivation, which meant get up and do something. And we like, get up and do something? Eat. You can teach your brain to do anything. Mm-hmm. 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 The brain would do that by itself as well. The pride you had would have linked to the brain automatically. You would have never had to tell your brain. The minute that you started to feel this pride, your brain would have said, we're going to do this regardless, push through the pain. And you hear people do it through baseball and basketball games. They broke something, and it's like we're in the middle of this. We got to finish, and they push through until it's over. Then all of a sudden, they're in excruciating pain. Keep moving. As soon as you hit the hospital, you fall out. It's literally the brain's way of saying your brain has the ability to do anything. It's just we stop it from doing a lot of things. So it can do anything. We stop it from doing a lot of things. Our doubt in ourselves is greater than our doubt in anybody else. Yeah, it is horrible. But you could train your brain to do anything. You could train your brain that every time you walk into a classroom, you do nothing but excel. Yes, yes. About her using her whole brain. Mhm. Yeah. If you ever think for a moment of the times when you are most attentive, how productive you are, compared to the time when you're technically not really paying attention. It just makes a difference. Literally, when the brain says we got to pay attention because you think this is priority, all of a sudden it's like all hands on deck. We're in there. If you be like, okay, we're gonna do this, the brain be like, okay, this is optional. I'm taking a trip. Um, call me when you're ready. It's the way we work. It's we can never be 100% at everything, and that's why I always tell people you find your balance. There's somebody out there that is always stronger than you in something. You guys pair up, your dynamic duel. When they're weak, you're strong. When you're strong, they're weak. Works perfect because you cannot be strong in everything. Once we figure that out, we're really good. Inside of you has some conflicts. Now, these conflicts are literally where the brain decides we've got two choices. This causes the most stress when I've got to make two choices. Okay, the first one is called approach. I've got two choices that both have great qualities. It's a win-win situation. I have two choices, both with great qualities, win-win situation. Give me an example. Win-win situation. School or work. Either I'm gonna make money now, make money later, still gonna make money. Buying a house, buy a car, still got me something. Win-win. Got it? Avoidance, avoidance. Two choices, both horrible. Drugs and jail. There you go. This is a lose lose. This is what it's called, caught between a rock and a hard place. Either way it goes is horrible. Jail, drugs. Which do I choose? I can't tell you. Okay. Approach avoidance. I have two choices that have both good and bad qualities. I have two choices that have both good and bad qualities. Give me an example. What'd you say? Both have choices that have good and bad. Approach avoidance. I've got two choices, both with good and bad qualities. Um, it could be a choice that the id says this is really good because of blah blah blah, and the super ego is like this is not good because of blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Give me an example, you guys. Choice, two choices, both good and bad. Right? There you go. Literally, do I go to school full time, part time? I got these two choices. Full time is gonna take away from a whole lot of stuff. I'm not gonna be able to do this, but at the same time, I'll finish faster. Part time, I can go and work, but now it's gonna take me longer to finish. I got these two choices I gotta make. That's approach avoidance. Make sense? Now, multiple approach avoidance, I now have more than two choices with both good and bad qualities. The other ones, I only have two choices. Multiple, I now have multiple choices. It's more like say you got offered three different jobs, and it's like, okay, now I got to make a choice out of these three. Compared to this one, I only had two that I had to make a choice about. This one, I've now got more than one. You got a lot of acceptance letters to schools, and you now have to decide where do I go. Make sense? Irrational beliefs. In regards to irrational beliefs, we literally say, if I believe in something that is irrational, it can cause more stress. If I believe in something that is more irrational, it can cause more stress. The reason why, activating an event literally means something has occurred. My beliefs then kick in. Because of my beliefs, I've created consequences. Okay? Because I've created this consequence, it now creates more stress. Does that make sense? There you go. Yes. So now we've got this issue. Sex before marriage, I feel is wrong. I've placed myself in a situation to where it could be happening. That's my event. My beliefs kick in. The consequences now is I'm going to stress more about this situation than ever before because of my belief. Does that make sense? It's more like, and irrational is a word that we use loosely, literally because if we go back to the idea of sex before marriage creates pregnancy, does it always? No, it's technically an irrational belief. Does that make sense to you? It's irrational because it doesn't always happen. But if every time I do it, I have this worry, I've made an irrational belief. So it's literally irrational beliefs causes higher levels of stress. There you go. Yeah, your thought is the whole time where you're sitting there like, oh my God, I hope they don't say anything that I told them. Hope they don't say anything that I told them. We now have irrational belief. We're so worried about the consequences that we cannot. The stress level is high. There you perfect one. Superstitious people. If I break a mirror, next 7 years is bad luck. So for entire 7 years, you about to worry about bad luck. Yes. Those people who literally say, I have an aunt that if you sweep her feet, she's got to spit on your broom. So literally while I'm sweeping the kitchen, she's literally moving around, and it's funny because I'm literally just doing it because I just want to watch her move really quickly. Because she just every time the broom comes, she's just going, and I'm like, is this for real? So finally, I made a mistake, and she's like, give me that broom, and she's spitting. I'm like, I'm not about to sweep the floor with that broom. No, that's nasty. And she's like, I don't need no bat. You going through this whole thing. Black cat. How can you not prevent a black cat from eventually running across your car? Black cat run, you now have to what is it, circle around the block. You got to do something. There's some riddle. Circle around the block, come back. I don't know what you got to do. So the other day I saw a black and white cat come across my path, and I'm like, I wonder what this means. Does it mean part bad luck, part good luck? Like, I wonder what that means. But you go through this whole idea. So superstition is a perfect example of it. All right. Now, in regards, we talked about. Remember last chapter we talked about personality. This is usually the typical ones that people always describe. Type A, type B. Type A and type B, if you notice, we didn't talk about type A and type B when we talked about personality last chapter. But this is the jargon that most people know. We qualify it as type A and B. Type A is your highly strung individual. They're highly driven. They're hostile. They're aggressive. They're assertive. They're competitive. They're driven people, very focused. Your type B people are a little laid back. They're more concerned about people. They're more concerned about the quality of life. They're a little less impatient. They usually have a lot of patience. Who has the highest stress level? Type A, correct. Type A has the highest stress level and the highest heart disease. They're usually they're very active, usually very successful. Your type B, they could be passive. They're just patient. It's just really a go with the flow type of. And I'll use an example. You're in a group. Your type A, say you're all in a group. The type A person in the group is going to literally say, okay, what are we going to do? We need to get this done. Tell me what everybody's going to do what, da-da-da-da. If anybody says something not ordinary, they're going to literally probably say, excuse me, we really need to focus on what we need to do. Your type B then is going to say, you got to excuse them, they're under the pressure of the deadline. Is everybody all right? She's not trying to offend nobody. He's not trying to offend nobody. Is everybody good? You good? Is that date okay for you guys? Do you want to do all of that? That's what type B is going to do. Not so much people, but their concern is more for the person. It's for the people. Type A is more for the task. So B is for the people, A is for the task. Sure don't? Yes. Yes, definitely. Great combination. It is great to have a president and vice president as type A and type B. You're still going to have a dominant. There's going to be one that's going to dominate your life. Yeah, it's a perfect. No. And like I said, together they work great. If you got a president and a vice president, if you got a manager and a co-manager that's type A and B, wonderful selection, because your type A is going to make sure the product gets done. The type B is going to make sure everybody's happy while they're doing it. Makes sense? But type A is going to be the most stressed, the most sick too, because they're driven. And if we go back to Jason, they've learned they don't care what you say. They can take no and roll it off and keep it moving. Type B is going to be like, no, why? You're not, are you sure? Type A was like, no, all right. Plan B. No. Plan C. They'll go all the way to Z. Type B is going to sit there and talk about why type A didn't work, who did type A offend. They're going to go through all that. That's a whole nother type. Type A, they're usually in driven. Okay, let's take this situation. This is going to tell you what you're dominant. You've got a project that needs to be done by Friday. Today is Monday. You all meet once a week. I even you twice a week. So on Thursday, this one person in your group comes in, crying, sad face, looks like their whole world is over. Half of the project is done. What do you do? There you go. You type you type A. That's just like some of y'all like the project can wait. We'll get to it. What's wrong? Type A is literally like you said, you need to go get your stuff together. Come back when you ready. Cause right now I don't have time to be. We on a crunch deadline. We didn't wait to the last minute. You know, handle your business. Yes. Your type A is usually the leader, and like she just proved how she is. Literally like I ain't got time for that. You know, because my thought type A is like you came here, you trying to use this as a sympathy card. We ain't got time for no sympathy. Suck that stuff up. Cry when we finish the project, and I might ask you how you doing. Okay. Type B is not even gonna be able to do nothing but find out what's wrong. They gonna take that person off to the side while everybody else do the project. Talk to the person, see if everything is okay with the person. Then bring the person back and be like, she's good. Nobody needs to worry. Everything is okay. She's just having a couple of problems at home. That's gonna be type B. She type B. She's type B. Yeah. Her main concern is the people, not the not the task. So if you have a party, great to be together. Type A is going to get the party planned together. Type B is going to make sure everybody at the party is having fun. Got it? Two type A together, destructive. Very destructive. Don't go into a household with two type A people. Okay. Now, the psychological parts. We now have some issues. Self-efficacy expectations. Literally, this idea is depending on how I feel about myself determines my stress level. Depending on how I feel about myself determines my stress level. If I feel high about myself, I'm more persistent in completing a task. The higher the self-esteem or self-efficacy, the lower the stress. The higher the self-efficacy, the lower the stress. Why do you think this is so? There it is. If I think right now, if you said, Dr. Madison, I want you to take the final exam for psychology, you'd be like, okay, I won't feel no stress. Now, if you say, Dr. Madison, I want you to go take the calculus final exam, I'm gonna be like, oh God, can I practice first? You got a study book? We got some worksheets we need to do. Let me go talk to Jeff first. Literally, because the self-efficacy literally says, because of my confidence, I know I'm better prepared. It goes back to the whole preparation. Does that make sense? Some of you are public speakers. Somebody says, get up in front of everybody and speak. You're like, no, please, please. Do we have to? Do we have to? And some of y'all are like, all right, what are we going to talk about? The self-efficacy. Depending on how you feel you are comfortable, how you feel you are in regards to expert at that, creates your lower stress level. Yes, 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 yes. Some people right now, because they are procrastinators, they're probably doing the survey now. Right. So their stress levels are very high. Compared to people who got the surveys done, you just got to do your last final touches. Your stress is a little bit. You got stress, but it's not bad. Those people who already turned it in, you sitting here like, woo, thank you, gosh, I ain't worried about nothing. I feel bad for you. You know, just a different level. Okay, good. Psychological hardness. We ended up going into what does hardy mean? We got like 60 different definitions. Literally, hardy is strength. Okay? Psychological hardiness. How strong are you in regards to your being? The harder or the hardier, that's not a word, but we're going to use it in this room. The hardier you are, the better you are. Because it allows you to feel you're in control. Yes. Yes. Because you're technically not. Yes, you are a repressor, without a doubt. You are a repressor. Okay? Internal locus of control, understanding where you are when you are. Where you are, when you are. It's just kind of like that self-understanding. Knowing when I'm under too much stress, knowing when I'm just right, knowing who I am when I'm supposed to be that way. Sense of humor, best stress reliever. They literally say you are supposed to smile at least 9 times a day. You are supposed to laugh at least 6 times a day, even if it's not real. Because when you start laughing, you'll eventually really laugh. If you sit up one day and just start laughing, it might be fake in the beginning, then all of a sudden it turns into, I cannot believe I'm sitting up here laughing, I'm looking like a fool. It turns into a genuine laugh. It actually releases endorphins to create a better stress reliever. So when you are, everybody's doing it. You've all done it before. You under so much stress and you just start laughing like, this is so stupid. She done lost her freaking track mind. Oh goodness, I'm really pray for this woman. Because I really want to kill her. So you go into that, it's just your way of relieving the stress. Yeah. Literally, I tell people, do something stupid. If you got a high level of stress, I'm going to tell you the number one thing to go do. Go to the playground. Go to the playground and swing. It will relieve your stress faster than anything else. You'll probably first think, I know my old butt ain't on this swing. And as you start to swing, you'll start to laugh. As you start to laugh, you'll release stress. Now, people are going to look at you, but you don't care what people are looking at because your self-efficacy is so high. Okay? We literally tell people, go in the backyard and play. Just go around and dance around the house. Those things, when you do things that are just like silly and childlike, it releases the most stress. Okay? Predictability and control. Predictability allows us to prepare and cope. Pretty much what it says, being prepared. If I can predict the outcome, I can cope a little bit better. If I control the outcome, I am allowed to plan, even if I think I'm controlling something. Usually you have the illusion of control. You control nothing. But if your illusion says I'm controlling this, you usually have a better plan. When it's out of your control, you're usually reacting. When you feel like you're controlling, you're usually planning. Does that make sense? Good. Yeah. If you're like, okay, just like you said, all right, you've already done it. This is why you're probably a little bit calmer than most. You're like, okay, well, the paper due tonight by midnight. Technically, I got all day. I go to class. 12, 2 o'clock. I can go. I'm good. In your idea, I've controlled this situation. I've controlled it. I've planned it down to the last wire. I'm good. Exactly. If I go to the old shoulda, woulda, coulda, the shoulda, woulda, coulda is a disease. Nobody should catch it. Okay, but it is rapidly caught by most. I should have did that. Oh, if I could have did it all over, I would have did it when I first got it. Oh, I should have first took the assignment then. I could have been done now. I would have been able to sit. That's a disease. The disease is catchy. Don't catch that. It's just literally like I didn't, so let me plan a better route now. I got 12 hours. I could do this. I could do this. You make a plan. I'm gonna tell you the difference in yours as well. You don't have children, right? Those people who have children, the idea of this is the last day is like, oh my God, what happens if my kid do this or this or that or this or that or this, and they spend 2 hours. What if my kids? What if my spouse? What if my job call me in? What if? So that whole idea of that idea, not good. So you literally have the ability to predict it because you're like, the only person I got to worry about is me. I can control this whole situation because I'm gonna put myself in the library. I'm good. I control the situation. I predict I'll be done by 6 o'clock. Got it? Now some of them thinking, oh Lord, I hope when I get home that internet is right. You go through a whole thing. Social support. This is huge. Social support comes in different ways. It comes emotionally and physically. It is a best. It is the greatest stress reliever. It's the best. Emotionally, somebody just to tell you it's okay. Emotional support. Literally somebody that's going to tell me it's okay. Physical support, a hug. They literally tell you you're supposed to have so many hugs a day. I think it's 8 or 9. 9, 8, yeah. Yeah. Literally, you're supposed to get that many hugs a day. Get 10 and you're really good. You're good at 10. Get 10 hugs is 8 or 9 or something like that. But it's supposed to be really helpful in regards to releasing stress, releasing happiness, and releasing longevity of life. Hmm. 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 Trying to relax. Hmm. Hmm. If you ever took a hug a person and you was like, the minute they hug you, was like, oh. Unfortunately, I'm not a hugger, but that's so messed up. Like, if you get one, it relieves you. And we often tell people find somebody you like to do it, because if not, you get more tensed. If a person just came up to you while you walking down the hall and hug you, you probably gonna be like, oh my goodness. You probably sit there for a moment, unless you're a hugger. You meet the people who just hug all the time. They probably real healthy because they just hey. You like oh okay. And you you kind of can tell those people who really are huggers, they like all in, and those people who not, you like, all right, thank you. All right. But it really helps. It actually releases stress. Also, just telling a person, good job. It's okay. I'm here for you. Yes. 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 Yeah. Yeah. It's venting. We always say, always have a soundboard. Yesterday, my boyfriend got so upset with his cousin. I mean, he was all like he all having an emotional breakdown. And all of a sudden, he stands in front of me and he's looking at the top of my head because he's 6'4", so he just keeps looking at my ponytail. And I'm like, he's like, I'm calming myself. I said, by the top of my ponytail? Like, I don't get it. And he's like, the top of your head calms me. Okay, whatever works for you, bud. And I'm like, why? He said, because that's probably the only thing I can see when I look straight ahead. It's the top of your head. I'm like, whatever works. And I'm like, well, just calm down. He's like, I'm calming now. I'm calming now. Did that work for you? Cool. Look at the top of my ponytail. And I'm like, alrighty. But his idea is that it's just somebody there. And I don't know if it was a ponytail or him grabbing my arms, like, because it was getting kind of like tight, like, okay, all right now. But you just need that buffer. My sister would be my buffer. If anything happens, I call her because I know if I said, Kanisha, I just killed the whole block, she'd be like, dang, did you clean it up? Like, you need me to come up there? Like, it wouldn't be, she would still be like, they made you mad. What they do? It would never be a judgment thing, and it just kind of helps. So you have to have that person you know that won't judge you because it helps relieve the stress. Okay? And the body. Let's hit the body. We call it gas, not the gas like gas, but we call it gas. General adaptation syndrome. Literally, the body tells you you're relieved, you have stress. First thing it does, it gives you an alarm. It's the initial pain. It's the initial stress. Okay? We talk about the whole idea, everybody who here has back problems. All right, that first initial thing when you first get up and you're like, ooh, that's literally the alarm reaction. If you get a headache when you're under stress, it's that first piercing when you're like, oh my goodness. That's the body literally saying stop. Okay? The body will tell you when to stop. That's the first one. Then we push through it. It's called resistance. You push beyond the alarm. This is when you start taking medication for it. You push beyond the alarm. The initial pain, the alarm part was the body saying stop. You then push beyond the alarm. You then hit the exhaustion stage. The body shuts down. Let me explain to you. The body will win every time. You can fight as much as you want. The body will win every time. The body will literally say, okay, I told you when I gave you the headache to stop. You kept going. I gave you another headache. You kept going. All right, I got you. You won't be getting up tomorrow. You're alive, but you're going to hurt so bad that you can't move. I gave you a chance. I told you to deal with it. You didn't. I'm going to shut it all down. You won't be dealing with it today because you're not getting out of bed. I gave you a little cough. I needed to tell you to stop. You kept saying, no, I could do it. All right, then. I'll handle it. Now you got the flu. Let's see you get up now. You didn't want to listen to me when I gave you the cough. Fine. I gave you a headache. You kept going. All right, got you. I'm about to give you a migraine. I will win every time. Mm-hmm. Yes. The body will win every time. It gives you the alarm to say, stop. We are reaching our limits. We usually push and push. And his thought is, I'm okay. I'm good. I'm almost there. Yeah. It's 2 more weeks. Only 3 more weeks. I can push it. We're good. I'm good. There's a pill for this. There's some tea for this. It's at the gym. Literally, you push. Your body first was like, oh, you thought you had that little Charlie horse. You like, I got this. I got this. You ran an extra 2 miles, and then all of a sudden your body was like, cluck, 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 cluck. And you got off the treadmill like, oh, my goodness. It's the same thing. The body wins every time. Listen to your body. Okay? It is the best communicator. Pain is good. Okay? It is good. All right? It's a good thing. All right, we talk about stress. You got all these components that cause the hypothalamus. There it is again. Hypothalamus is one powerful little creature right there. It will secrete some hormones when it's under stress. Pituitary gland, adrenal cortex, and adrenal medulla. All of these will secrete a hormone during stress. All right? You would ask me that. Let me get back to you on that. I know cortisol is one of the hormones, but I don't think all of them secretes cortisol. Cortisol also contributes to weight gain because of levels of stress. B12 actually is an energy supplement, so it actually gives you like a perk. So when you take a B12, it will create more of a perk, an energy booster to kind of create you to move. Once you start moving, you create adrenaline. And when you create adrenaline, you create happiness. You create a morphine-like state. So the B12 kind of converts to this other function. Cortisol is literally the one that creates the most weight gain. So the higher the stress level, the more you start to eat. You start to eat more. You start to gain weight. It's all based on the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus is like, oh, you stressed out here. Cortisol. Here you go. And you just be like, boom, 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 boom. Why can't I lose weight? Well, probably because the cortisol, stress levels is high, cortisol went up, food intake increased, metabolism went down because you're not motivated to do nothing because you are stressed out about something that you shouldn't have been stressed about. Huh? Don't take them supplements on TV to tell you take this for cortisol. All right. In regards to, we looked at some different things that trigger in regards to gender. Women engage in tend to befriend. Women are usually more friendly in stressful situations. First thing happens when a woman gets under stress. What does she do? Hey, what you doing? Where you at? The reason why the idea of befriending is better. It's not a good thing. Also, understand when women feel like they are in threatening situations, they will befriend first. If you hold a woman up by gunpoint, guess what she'll probably say to you? She's going to figure out a way that she can try to calm this situation down. She's probably going to be the one he's going to have to tell, shut up. Because she's going to be like, hey, wait, what's wrong? Why are you doing this? You lost your job? We're going to try to figure out what was the cause of this. All right, it's just this whole idea of what happened. Cognitive adaptation theory, literally, you process what's best. I always laugh when every movie, when it's a scary movie, I always know she gonna fall. And when she gonna fall, she gonna beg, stop, please don't do this. And I keep thinking, first of all, why you keep falling? Second of all, you think he running after you with this blade and stop, don't do this is gonna stop this man? I don't think so. But, that's just our whole thing. The way we process information, how we adapt. So literally, we process information and we adapt accordingly. All right. Anytime you're in a situation that you feel stressed, you are going to process it and adapt. We are all adaptable beings. We are very good at adapting to situations. Yeah, well, people watch. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. Yep. It's fun. It's reality TV at its best. Um, keep it going. Gender differences. We talked about that. Immune system. Understand the body. First stress problem will be the immune system. It kills your ability to fight diseases. White blood count. Your white blood cell count will drop the more you are under stress. Now you cannot fight bacteria and diseases invading the body because you have now decreased your ability to do so. I think because you don't release the hormone that assists in the production of white blood cells. So the minute that you start to decrease the hormonal components, you decrease the production. Decrease the. You have to be. I think it's 3.7, 3.9, 4.0 as a count. Once you start hitting 3.7, 3.5, 3.0, you're depleting it pretty rapidly, and it takes a little time for your body to rebuild that. And if it's fighting a disease at the same time, you now have another problem. If I'm fighting a cold, I just dropped it down to 3.7. I've got to rebuild back to 4.0. It's a big battle. Yes. It's not a factor anymore. And I think it's the, like we said, I think it's the body's way of helping you. It's like, let me prioritize. Let me show you how small what you were worrying about really was. You don't have your health. That's not really important, is it? So I'm gonna give it to you. I'm gonna show you that that bill is not that important. You just spent the whole 2 weeks worrying about it, and I'm about to show you what happens if I take you out. I'm gonna give you something that's gonna hurt. Now you can't. You sick, coughing, flu symptoms, and you like, who cares about Georgia Power? Get me together. It's the same concept. We often tell people just before, especially brides, they usually get the sickest just before the wedding. They get the sickest just before the wedding. The stress level is so high that they're usually coughing. You see them always with Kleenex because they're trying to blow their nose, literally because the stress level is so high. Which is why they usually put people to block out more stress on that day. Hide the anxiety. We've actually found dental students have the lowest immune system. They stress the most. Out of all students in school, dental students actually, through a survey, showed the lowest immune system with the highest stressors. If you did not know, dentists have the highest suicide rate. I have no clue. And I always thought dentist was really weird because I thought that would be a not an easy job, but a less stress. I mean, it's teeth. Yeah, you're not doing no surgery. Well, understand the difference in your surgeons. Your surgeons have self-efficacy. They think they are great grand. So your surgeons actually have the ability to think they are grand, so they have a little bit less stressors because they always think, this is my 35th, 3,450th heart transplant. I'm good. I'm gonna look up why dentists have the highest suicide rate, but um, I don't know because I don't see, I don't know the stressors of being a dentist. So maybe I'll go up and ask Dr. Meyer what is it about being a dentist is so stressful to get insight, but I don't know. But they have the highest. Yeah, disgusting. Yeah, same in day out. That's possible. There's no excite. I mean, I would guess there's not really excitement in being a dentist. I mean, clean teeth, take out teeth, fix teeth, maybe. Compared to ER, you never know what your day is gonna be. You figure out why? Oh, they don't feel accepted. That's a good one. I hate the dentist. They probably the most hated profession. Yeah, yeah. You ever hear people say I'm a doctor? You're like, oh, of what? Dentist. They're like, oh, yeah. There you go. Oh, people hate them. Shows you again how having social support helps you through a lot of stuff. Very good. See? Hey, that's messed up. I'm about to go tell her if I was a hugger, I would go hug a dentist and tell him you're important too. All right, biosocial approach to health, understanding that your biological awareness is very important. We look at biological in regards to genetics. There are certain things genetically that you are going to be predispositioned to have. High blood pressure is one of them. Okay. Um, Hypertension is one of those things that biologically you are already you're literally almost set up to have it, but you can fight it with the idea of psychological aspects, the attitude, emotions, and behavior. So you've got biological parts, you have biological parts to your overall health. You got genetic things that you have to deal with, but you have attitude that can change it. In regards, you've been diagnosed with hypertension, the way you look at it can either increase your hypertension or get it under control. Yeah. Yeah. They talk about, you can see a lot of people once they get a diagnosis, depending on how they process it, they can either fight through it or give up on it. And we often tell people when people say, I got diabetes, look at what I say. I've got diabetes, okay, compared to diabetes got me. What's the difference in my statement? One, I've got control, one has control of me. Okay, depending on that, biologically, I might have to deal with this, but how I psychologically deal with it can actually deal with the stress levels. Yes, yes, yes. Usually, AIDS patients don't die from AIDS. They die from the complications or the whole idea, the cycle of it. When we do death and dying, you have a lot of people. We talk about people. If you're, say, if you got a grandparent that's 85, 89, 90 years old, and their spouse passed away, be very careful for at least the next year of that person's life, because more than likely they will die within that year, and they usually die from the loneliness and the depression of being from their partner that they've literally learned for so long. They've been married for 60 something years. That's all they know. Now all of a sudden their partner's gone. They usually go into depression and pass away within a year. Yeah. My granddad did too. He stopped talking. She died in June. He died that January. He stopped talking after she died. Nothing. He goes through it, but they get stuck in that depression stage and they just stay there. We usually tell your family members keep them active, get them involved in stuff, try to get them. The problem is sometimes you can't do anything because that's what they knew. That was their life. Um, it was their comfort zone. They grew up with that person, especially your grandparents now. They got married at 16 years old. So from 16 to 89, they were with this one person. That's all they know. And now that one person's gone, they're kind of lost. Coronary heart disease, leading cause of death in the United States. Literally, we have looked and linked it to stress levels. Okay. Cancer, again, linked to stress levels, but it does have other components. It is an inherited disposition. We also looked at behavior patterns can increase it, and then prolonged psychological conditions. This goes to the stress part. So the inherited, literally, that's the genetic component. The behavior patterns, you can actually do things that can cause cancer, and then a prolonged psychological stress for so long that you go into the defense mechanism of repression. It causes some type of mutation in your cell division, which can actually cause cancer-like cells. Okay, stress and health done. Wasn't hard either, was it? And the room gets quiet.